2012 Nissan Rogue. What model this one is? The SL 2.5 all-wheel drive. Make sure you know it's all-wheel drive. CV joint. And if you don't specify all-wheel drive, you get different. Let me see. Yeah, SL. And you don't specify, you get this CV joint. Okay, this number here is for the two-wheel drive, and then you'll have to go back down the road again and get this one here for the all-wheel drive. I don't know what the difference is, but we'll see. First thing I did, jack the vehicle up, put the jack stand, and getting ready to take off the wheel and stuff on this side. So we'll start. This is the Brara impact corded from Harbor Freight. And I haven't bumped into anything that it won't take off yet. CV joints, anything. All right, so that's the first thing. First thing you'll do is take off the wheel. Okay, first thing, take the caliper off, hang the caliper up, put the two screws back in, took the rotor off, there's nothing holding the rotor, lay it over there. Then get ready to take out the pin, and these bolts that hold the bottom of the strut. And you might have enough room, might not have to take off the bottom bolt. Okay, so then you take off the little castle cap. Take it off after you take out that little pin. Oh, you just have to pry it off. Oh, they gripping in there?
Yeah, they'll bend it to them.
Okay.
The teeth inside of the tray.
Once we take that off, then we'll go ahead and take off the big bolt that's on the CV joint. Okay, so you're left with that. Now get the bolts at the top though. Those two that's holding the strut, one here and one up.
That's the next step there?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You were driving last time.
So now have to use the two tools, take it out. Don't take the bolt out yet, do the other one.
It's a lot of work tomorrow. It's a lot of work. So don't.
Tell Dennis I appreciate him.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know how it happened.
Make sure this isn't no tension on it. Okay, let's see if this thing will take off this big one here. Man. Well, it did. Okay. All right. What we ended up doing is putting the bolt on the end, tapping it in. This bolt is a very weak type bolt. The metal, so it started to bend. Had the socket, was hard to go back on. But the problem to all that's grease, all that, the boot busted up there, and everything came out. So we didn't have to take off that bolt. We didn't have to take off the bottom. You have enough leverage if you just tilt this down and pull up. And now we'll go ahead and to the back side. I think we have two bolts we need to remove and then just pull it out. Okay, he's reaching in now. Try to get way back there. That's, yeah. And then there's one at the top. We'll be back. Let me go through what we had to do. Pulling the CV joint, this piece pulled off. It was seized into this area here. That's what this piece is. So we had to take out the whole bracket. For you to take out the whole bracket with that piece, you have to unbolt the exhaust and the hanger just to get enough clearance when you pull this down to pull everything out through the back. And well, not really back, but it's gonna pull through this section right here. You'll have to turn back and forth, pull it out. Then brought it over here. We try hammering it out from this area right here. Hammering it that way. It wouldn't move. Put a little PB blast. Waited maybe 5 seconds. Hit it. It came out. No problem. Now we're using the sledge right here. I think it's a 5 pound or 2 or 3 pound sledge. So now we're gonna put the new one in, or put this bracket back in now, and then put the new one in, because the bracket with nothing, it goes in easy. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, we're cleaning up the area that was frozen, sanding it down. That's what holds the bearing on the CV joint, the axle, and then we'll coat it with some anti-seize so that doesn't happen again. Because this, we in what, number 5 hour, but that's driving back and forth to the store, getting parts, stuff like that. Would have been done in about a 30-minute job, 30 to 45-minute job. So we'll go ahead and put on the anti-seize and then start putting on a new one. And as the vehicle was jacked up high on one end, we didn't lose much fluid, very, very little, not even enough to be worried about adding. So we'll go ahead and do this. All right, we went ahead, got the bracket back in, anti-seize on all the bolts, even though the bolts wasn't bad. This is the new one to go back in. We already have anti-seize on the section where this goes into. And it's going to be a combination of socket and wrenches, 16 millimeter, to get everything back together. It's just, I mean, it's a lot of twisting back and forth to get it. But we'll go ahead and just pop the CV axle in now and be done. Okay, this thing here dropped in perfect, no problems. That bracket right there has 2 bolts, and that's what locks the CV axle to that bracket that we just mounted up there. So don't forget to put that in. Now all we have to do is just bend the joint and slip it back in, bolt everything back together. Okay, that's the bracket. You can barely see it in there.
Right.
Yeah, right there. And just have to put on that screw, anti-seize is on it, and the other one. And then we'll put on the big bolt right here. We got anti-seize on these 2 that holds the strut. Put on the rotor next and the caliper, and this is done. The only thing this is left to do now is the it needs a brake pads. They're just about worn out. We put the carter pin back in the rotor. Had to push the brake caliper in, the piston for the brake caliper, and putting back on the pads, and then slip it back on. I pay attention to this line here is the ABS. We had to take it out twice from this section because the first time the caliper hose, the brake hose was over it, pushing it down. And the second time, well, the first time it went behind here and then came here. And then the next time the brake hose was holding it. So this is what it should do. Come over the brake line, hooks onto this, and these two are just regular. You just pull them out. It's nothing. You just pull it out. Both of them are like that. So, and they just push back in, and then it's a number 10 bolt holding it. Then that's it. Now he's putting back up the exhaust right now on the hanger in the back, and then put the 3 bolts up front on the exhaust, and it's done. So the 2012 all-wheel drive Nissan Rogue is done, and then he has to bring this CV axle back, and there's no core on it. Ended up being $100 and something for the axle for this one. All right, put the anti-seize on. The exhaust is done. He's just checking for any loose heat shields that's on it. And then we just put on the wheel, jack it back up, let it off the jack stand, and we're good. Okay, the little SUV's out. And that's the mess I have. So I always park them on this tarp. It's a vinyl type material, real flexible but real thick. It's made for the roofs, a membrane for a roof, and it's like a pool. It'll hold water. So I make the mess on that, and then I just have to clean up, and the vehicle is out there.